Hi everyone, it's Adrienne Leah. This video is going to be a couple of things. I have some projects that I wanted to show you guys. It's fairy season, so I have a couple of decks that I've been working with that are primarily fairy based, and I have a mini haul, and most of this stuff are things that I would normally show on the channel, and then there is something that's a little random. So the first project I wanted to show is this dreamcatcher that's going to be on my Etsy shop. I have to finish the bottom portion of it. So this is the river dreamcatcher. There's a moon and then red, like the Red River or coral. And there's a lot of inspiration that goes into that. So I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. And it's a 5-inch dream catcher. I've been doing cabling this time around. Just to make it more of an enjoyable project. I'm not knitting the cabling right now in the round. But this one is going to be a deck bag. I usually work from the bottom up, but this one is going to be made a little differently. And my pattern I put together is out of the 32, so it's 2, 4, 8, 4, 8, 4, 2. I graduated last year and I found this graduation gnome. I just thought it was so cool, so I picked it up. Scotty has been really calling to me for a while now, and I found a statue of her. And I love her so much. I went to a local metaphysical shop. And I got a ring in a metaphysical shop near Bry's area, or in Bry's area. And I got shorts for the warm weather the other day, but I also picked up sweatpants for the more casual days. This one is a polo club one. I have a tendency of liking put together clean appearance, and even when I wear stuff like this, I still want to have the same type of feeling. So that's how my reaction is when I get Polo Club sweatpants. I do like it baggier, so I got it in a larger size. Okay. So I'm mainly showing fairy decks, and one feels like a Fae energy type of deck. I didn't include the Druid Animal Oracle, but I've been using that one too. These two have been in my last few videos, so I'll mention them quickly. This one is in one of my favorite bags that I've made because I love the color and I love the briefcase style deck bag. So this is the Scorpio C Tarot. I love this deck. It's so rich and inviting, and it gives really clear messages. The book is amazing too. You guys have heard that I don't really like using books because I like my own interpretation, but I also like reading others too. And I like to draw inspiration and put some of their interpretations into my interpretation arsenal, where I look at it and I think that's brilliant. So those are one of the books that I really love and admire the writing of. Amazing deck. And I love building decks too, how it has... I usually like busy decks, and then I like the ones that have some symbolism, but it has such a rich meaning to the cards as well. I finished this other bag too with the same color that I've been using. This one has a button on it, and this houses the Tarot of the Elves, which is a firehouse of a deck. And these two Brian gifted me. And one of the other decks he got for me too. So I love Los Scarabeo card sizes. What's my card? The Queen of Cups. And I love the ring too because it looks elven. I'm sorry there's a hair there. I just don't want to mess with it too much because it's standing on something. Another deck that I love using is the Forest Fae Oracle. Curious messages of enchantment and then Forest Fae. I haven't been saying the creators, but this one's Nadia Turner. The Scorpio C is the creator of the Raven's Prophecy Tarot, which is... I usually remember her name, Maggie, Steve Vader, and then I believe it's Melissa Sinova for the book. Yes. And then for the Los Scarabeo deck, I believe the artist's last name is McCoy. It could also be the Italian artist too, because the McCoy artist might be in reference to the Tarot of the Celtic Fairies deck. So, I love the artwork. I'm sorry. But this deck is so incredible too. Here's the backs. And they have sayings on them. And the sayings are beautiful and enchanting, and they're darker. And I've been saying richer. I love the artwork on this, on the cards. How to use the cards. Sit quietly and breathe deeply. Shuffle the deck while thinking of a question, or just ask the Fae for guidance. Choose a card at random and discover what messages of the Forest Fae have for you. Perhaps the answers will be clear, or maybe they'll ask more questions before the answers, such as the way of the Fae. And then it's 40 cards for this deck. These two next two decks are decks that I've had for a really long time. And even ones that I've used consistently but haven't been on my channel often. The first one is the Beautiful Creatures Tarot, the first edition. I've had this one for years, and it was on one of my earlier videos on my first channel. This is my second channel that I've created. The first one turned into a reading channel, and then I made a second channel. So this was in the category of decks for the 5 versatile decks that I use, because at the time I didn't have the tarot bug, or got bitten by the tarot bug where I collect decks. I'm just going to check the time. But I love working with this deck. It's one that I work with consistently. I really love the Zodiac in the court cards. And then it has the nymphs in there too. Then there's a couple of extra cards in there. This would be one of the top decks that I actually work with. I have a tendency of mainly working with fairy decks, and then I have other categories that kind of go in there too. I like Celtic could go in there, and then I have shamanic, Native American decks that I work with as well. Sorry, my foot's falling asleep. I wanted to make this video before I headed out because we're still wearing masks, and I was actually I got ready because I needed to run some errands, and I was making a video to contribute to a graduation ceremony video for those who graduated from the college I went to. So my foot's not as asleep anymore. But another deck that I've used for a really long time, and I'm actually using the original one because I love the Czech edition, which is a larger version of this deck. It's the Shadowscapes, but it has gold gilding, which is a little distasteful for me because based off of the color scheme, I would have gone silver gilding, and I don't usually go for gold as it is, so I did color the gilding silver just to appease myself. But the smaller one, the original one, has a warmth to it that the larger one doesn't, so I still love going to this one too. And I enjoy working with this deck. Again, fairy decks are decks that I normally gravitate to and I use the most. So it's not unusual. But an amazing deck. And this deck I actually got the first time I moved back to New Jersey because I travel quite a bit. And the last deck that I'm showing in this video is one that I have acquired recently, and it's the Forest of Enchantment Tarot. I love that Llewellyn. I feel like they have specific days where they release decks or publish decks because one of the days is my birthday in October, and this deck came out on my birthday too. And the Morgan's deck I refer to as the Morgan's deck. It's the Faery Wicca, and I'm not a Wiccan. I just do my own thing and just a pagan. So this is the Forest of Enchantment Tarot, and I've been gravitating towards getting it for a long time, but I didn't because I didn't have an amazing connection to the everyday. No, not that one. I really enjoy that one. It's the Greenwich Tarot, which has more of a Wiccan base to it, and that could be one of the reasons why I don't connect with that deck. So this has softer imagery. It's completely different imagery, but it was an assumption that maybe I wouldn't connect with this deck very well, so I never went for it. But it was on sale, and I figured I would pick it up, and I'm so happy that I did because the deck is really magical and enchanting, and the changes of the suits are ones that I connect to. So another wonderful deck to use. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was interesting, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.